Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope everything's going well. Now, I'm thinking today, let's get some of the new colours out, some rich colours. I've been doing my workshops recently, lovely backgrounds with these new colours and really been enjoying them. And now this is Scout the Fairy or Pixie, not quite sure, but do you know what? In my eyes, fairy. So if you've got Scout and you haven't used that stamp yet, so this is for you because I want you to use it. And I just think we can create a beautiful piece of artwork. Look at that, the colours are so intense. And this just starts off as an A6 piece of card. And I always think it's amazing. Look, a little bit of matting and layering, but it's just one of our smaller. So if you haven't got, I know we've got some lovely new friends and followers. And it's lovely to have you here on the channel as well. So welcome everybody. You don't need a lot of stamps and it's using them in different ways. I mean, I say need, you know what? I'm like the rest of you. Every time I go to Lavinia, I have a list. I buy more stamps, more pens. When I was there on Saturday, I treated myself to 3 more sparkly gel pens that I hadn't got. So when I say you don't need a lot, you know what? Well, we all know what we're like, don't we, with that word need. But what I mean is you can create a design with just a few stamps and you can use them in different ways. And as you build up, you can, you realise you can create smaller designs, larger designs. I mean, we just have fun, don't we? So this is the sort of thing I'm going to create. And as I said, I've got my piece of card. And as always, I start off with my stamping. Just because stamping's my weak point. I've said this before. And if I get it almost done out of the way, I can relax then. That's just me. So here comes Scout. And as I say, this is the small Scout. Now mine, I will warn you now, I think I've lent, and this is where you have to be careful. I think I've put another stamp on top of mine and I've got a little mark here, but don't worry, I'll show you how you get round it because I'm sure it must happen to others as well. I'm going to come in with my VersaFine Claire, my Nocturne. And again, when you start off, try and get in good habits. It's just if you've got good routines. So I'm going to ink up and she's a silhouette. And I'm just going to put plenty of ink on there. Nice light tapping though. And I'm just going to put a sort of there. Now again, she's a silhouette, so I'm just going to let that ink soak into the card. Don't be in a rush to lift your stamp up. You might see others do it, and there are some lucky crafters who can ink, stamp, lift up, and it works. I'm not one of those. Now, if you are, I'm so envious of you, but if you are, that's fine. You can do that, but I'm not. So it's all about knowing what you're like. And when I lift that up, so as I say, if you look on my stamp, I've got a little white mark here. Now, I thought it was a piece of glitter. I've cleaned my stamps. It isn't. It's a little, I think I've rested something on it. And you can actually see it on here. And that's why really try and not put other things on top of your stamps. But it's no big worry for me because I've got my black fine liner and I'm just going to dot. In my own opinion, try not to colour because you'll get lines. If you dot, it will actually fill in better and you won't notice it as much. So again, that's just a bit of advice for you. Now, for the foliage here, I could have gone in for lots of foliage stamps. But again, I'm thinking, when you're starting off, good value for money stamps and stamps you can use again, the seasonal tree. Now, this is fabulous because when you think, if I wanted, I could have stamped it here. I mean, it's fabulous. You could even just stamp, look, and add Pippin, one of our mini stamps, and you've got a whole design, some colour around it, job done. If you need a get well card or a condolence card, you could just stamp moon mask there, a little bit of grey in the background. There's a lot you can do with one tree. And I always think with it being the seasonal tree, bare branches. So you could add any of the mini stamps, the leaves, and make it whatever time of year you wanted. So again, when, you know, ladies and gentlemen are starting off, I often recommend getting a stamp that you're going to be able to use again and again. Now, you know me, you could stamp it this way and actually have the birds sat on, just like it's a branch coming out. And you could have, again, you could put any manner of blossom or flowers or leaves. So lots and lots of things you can do with this stamp. So fabulous one to have. But I'm just going to use it up at the top for the foliage, almost the branches. That's the part I want. So again, I'm going to ink it up and we'll just put one sort of here. So I'm not using the trunk at all. And I love doing this, just looking at different ways of using stamps. And maybe this one coming in at this angle here. Then I just want to catch down the side here. Just to build up that sort of, want that shape round there. Just to build up that nice sort of shape. Maybe just actually, I just want a tiny bit more just below, just round Scout's wings. So if I just sort of hover, yeah, just it gives me that nice shape. So I'm going to give that a blot. Again, VersaFine Clair, slower drying ink, and I'm going to add the scenery now and come in with the lovely bright colours. So I don't want to smudge this stamping. So we'll pop that away and we'll just come in with some lovely colours. And today I'm going to be using Pixie Green, Pink Elephant, Flying Fig, or in my head, Flying Pig, and followed by Mermaid. And so what I tend to do is just take all the lids off in the order I'm going to use them. And I'm going to turn my design round, just check you can still see it, and then come in with my mini hill masks. And I'm going to start with the flatter one first, sort of the straighter one. Pop that under Scout and under both feet. And then I'm just going to get, and I'm going to use the green for this. So I'm going to come in with my stencil brush that's got dark green on, mix it in the lid. And again, your Lavinia mat will stop your lid moving. So it's easy to just mix in it. Look, you don't need to hold it. And then we'll come in and add that beautiful colour. And I want it dark. So we'll come in with that lovely lush. Whoa, look at that. You know, some days you just want full-on colour. Now, I'm going to give that a wipe just with a damp cloth and then dry it with my Inky Binky. And we'll go on to the pink. So my next one is I'm going to go for the next one, the sort of flatter of the hills. And we'll pop that sort of here. And this time the pink, and again mixing the lid, and I'm going to come down and just not be as concentrated at the bottom. I want more colour at the top. So again, I'll put the ink at the top, and I can go right over Scout because I've used the black permanent ink. That's fine. So again, blend from the top down, and almost so I've got a little lighter bit, a bit of an ombre. Just works better for this technique, I find. So lift that up, again, give that a wipe. And again, I make sure I clean them before I put them away. And then I want to add my next one. But what I think looks nice, if I just turn it round, I look where I'm going to put my moon, and I'm thinking of putting my moon there. Because what looks nice is if you mimic that shape, and I'll show you on the finished one, if the hill is that shape under the moon, it just, in my opinion, looks nicer. So at this point, what I tend to do, and we'll go back sideways, I'm going to put my moon, say there. So I'm thinking with this, I want that shape to be there, and I just want to be mindful where I put this. If I could get her wings in, that would be nice. And just, I don't really want to chop her neck off, so if I do that, that's sort of across her arm, and that will give me that there. Happy with that. So look for my brush now with my purple on, and the same thing, and I'm going to go over her wings, because when I colour them, that'll be fine. So I'm just going right across, and again inking more at the top, and then just leaving that sort of lighter bit of an ombre, sort of a highlight above the next colour. And again, just picking that lid up from the ink from the lid, just giving it a nice blend, and then wipe that. And for me, it's important to wipe masks and put them away clean. And I'm going to turn this round, and then the last one, I'm going to go into the blue. And this one, as I say, is Mermaid. Blend in the lid, and then just bring in that lovely blue. And again, I'm being mindful, I'm going down, look, but I'm just leaving almost like a little whiter area where the colours match. I just think it almost makes them ping a little bit more. Just move my fingers. And then give this mask a clean before I put it away. You can tell I've got a bit of a clean before you put it away. And then I'll bring this round, and I just want to add a little bit more colour to the top corners. And then, look at that, I think the colour there, the colours. So I'm going to put the lids on those, because I don't want to put my arm in them. Now, I'm just going to spritz this and clean it up, but that would be beautiful, wouldn't it, in your journal, on a tag. But we'll colour my Inky Binky. I think that's a good thing to do. He likes lots of colour on him. So if we bring this back, look at that colour. And I just love that sort of lighter area. So we'll add a little bit more. Sort of, I'm thinking of adding some colour to the wings now. So I've got my Mondelez colouring pencils here. And the colours I've gone for are number 5. Always reminds me of a certain game where you call numbers out. Number 5. 131 and 179. And what I thought is, if I just put a little bit of orange just at the end, look. And then I'm just going to come in with a little bit of pink in the middle. And then the deep colour that I'm really focusing on is this bluey purple, which I thought would show up beautifully on that purple background. And as always, I'm going to come in with my clear Wink of Stella and just blend those colours in, but also add that lovely sparkle. And I've just put a new cartridge in mine, so there's lots of lovely sparkle to this. Just need to clean the nib. And I'm just going to come in and mop up a little bit too much sparkle there. As I say, I've got a new one. Well, that's okay. And then what we'll do now, look at that glisten, absolutely beautiful. We'll add some highlights. So I'm going to come in with the pastel pencils. And as always, my favourites, the white and the black. And we'll just add some highlights. And again, just a gentle smudge And I'm just thinking on her arm here and her shoulder, and then just down her front and a little skirt there, and then just catching on this leg and her feet. And I don't want to overcook it. And then we'll come in with the black, a little bit of shadowing, and the shadow will go this way, won't it? Moon's there, so it'll be this direction. Biodegradable cotton bud, just to smudge it to save my finger ending up black. And it's amazing the difference that makes. But I do want, I've got a lovely, the Signo, and as you know, I love the bronze one. And I'm thinking on this lovely telescope, let's just add some bronze. And just so that it sort of matches, we'll add some to these gorgeous. And just at the end here. And it's all about that lovely, we've said it before, this lovely cohesive design, so that there's a reason that these things go well together. Now what I'm going to do with this lovely purple look, the branches here, I just think if I colour them purple, and before any of you message me and tell me that branches aren't purple, this is a magical design. But also, I think depending what sort your soil is like, you can get branches all different colours. But I'm just thinking it'll tie in the purpley tones at the base. And as I say, I'm just using my pencil. Now you can leave them blank if you want, but I just think they look nicer with that little bit of colour look. And I keep saying it, but it just brings it all together and does make it look that lovely, cohesive design. And for the time it takes, it's so worth doing. And then, you know me, it's all about finishing touches. And I'm going to stamp a lovely sentiment down this side. Now, if you're happy with the card like this, you know, a few of you have said your mojo's gone, you haven't got many stamps. This is an ideal one because I've used 2 stamps, that's all. Your hill masks, your acetate circle mask, you can do so much with these. Bright colour, and look, we've got a design. Now, you could stamp one of our lovely birds in the tree. You know, you could say, what's she looking at? You could take this further. You could expand the design, put a tree over here with a bird in, put a bird flying, a butterfly. There is so much you can do. So I'm just coming in to give you the base, and then you're going to take it further. But what I want to do is stamp, we've got a gorgeous sentiment that says, the clouds are lined with silver, and often we are told, I give you this, my heartfelt wish, that yours be lined with gold. And I think that's lovely, and it's not a sentiment I use very much, so I'm just going to stamp it down the side, but I don't want it to be too bright, so I'm going to come in with VersaFine Clair Arctic. And as you notice, I always put an arrow on the back of my stamps because I have before now stamped one upside down. And I'm sure most of you are the same, and you'll say, yep, we've done the same. Now, I would always check on copy of paper first, second and generation. And when I did, I decided I wanted first. And the first one I want to stamp is here, right over the moon. So it can be almost the full sentiment. And then I'm just going to stamp part of the sentiment as we go down. And I decided I would stamp this all in first generation. And again, it won't show up much at the base, which is fine, or at the top. You just want that little, and I just think it just fills that space there. And to be honest, I'd finished this design and I was really happy with it, but there was something missing here. And if I bring in the finished design, do you agree? Once, just a little bit of orchard grass here, it just looks to me like there's something. Now, it might be you want to leave this space for a sentiment, a lovely, especially one of our white sentiment stickers. But I'm going to stamp the orchard grass because I think it really finishes the whole design off. And I'm not going to stamp a lot. I'm going back in the black, and we'll have 1, 2, a second generation, and then just one more there. And for me, that's enough. I love that shape, and I think it follows beautifully from this corner to this corner. And lastly, Posca splats. You need these yellow Posca splats, don't you? And this is a yellow sparkle, so just around the orchard grass, and that shows up beautifully on that dark green. And a couple around the foliage. Again, I'm holding my pen close so it doesn't splat everywhere. I control exactly where I want it to go. And if I lift that up, look, don't they look gorgeous? So magical. So I'm going to pop that one there. And this is if you're going to pop it on a larger card or in a frame. But look at those colours, don't they pop? So that's your homework, Gwen. And for the couple of ladies that have messaged saying that the mojo's gone, you only need 3 stamps. Well, 4 if you count the sentiment. But I'm sure you could make something like this. And how bright and happy is that? So I hope you have a go. Please tag me in if you do. And take care. Please look after yourself. You know where I'm going now, don't you? Time for that cheeky brew and biscuit. And I'm going to sit in the garden with Eric. It's beautiful today. So you take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.